Welcome to How to Become a Production SQL Database Administrator. My name is Raphael. In the previous video, we gave an introduction as to what Always On Availability Group is and how you can disseminate data from a source to multiple destinations. And because these are read-only, we can utilize these destinations. So now we're actually going to start implementing Always On. But before we do that, we do need some prerequisites here. So the requisites that I mentioned, we must install what's called a failover cluster services on each node. We must take a full backup of the primary database and then restore it to the secondary servers that are involved. And then we must make sure that all the databases are in full recovery mode. And we have to have a shared folder that is accessible by other nodes that are involved in this always-on cluster. So let's begin by doing the prerequisites. So go to your workstation and let's open it up. As I was mentioning, let's make sure that the DC is on. And we're going to need 3 servers here. So make sure your server 1, server 2, and server 3 are on. So go to your server 1. And the first thing we're going to do now is we have to make sure that the Windows clustering services has been activated and enabled. And in order for you to do that, the way you do it, and we're going to do this through all servers, I may start with 1, and then I'll start with 2 and 3, but then we'll pause the video. So go to your server manager here and double click it or single click, and the server manager will pop up. And let's go and give it a second. It's still taking its time. So I'm going to start this on 2 also. And you must do this for all 3 servers that are involved in this. So let's cancel that. Let's do it here also. So go back to 1. And as soon as this updates, we're going to go to add roles. So I think it started. So on the server 1, go to add roles and features. And this obviously pops up. And we've gone through this process before, but we're going to do it step by step. So we're going to add the features for Windows clustering services. So go next, next. Could be a little slow because obviously there's a tremendous amount of resources being utilized. So obviously here we're going to select our specific server. In our case, obviously this is 1. So make sure you select the appropriate one. Go next. And while that's doing it, let's do the on 2 also, and 3 also. So let's go back to 1. So I think it's still looking for it also. There's a lot of stuff going on, so this may be a little slow, but it'll be coming up, I think. All right, so it's actually we started a little earlier. We're letting the services run in the background for the server itself. But that's okay. So we can go next here, next here, next here, next here. Oops, don't know what I did there, but let's go. Go next. And on this one, we're on 3. So go next here and go next. Make sure we're doing the right servers. Oh, okay, I see what we're doing. I was removing directories in the previous thing. That's what this is. I actually removed them so we can show them from the start. So that's why those are taken down. So we're on server 2. Let's go to server 2 and server 3 and server 3. So let's go back to server 1. So now we can add roles in the features. The features we want to add, obviously, are in the feature thing. So go next. And here are the features, obviously. So the ones we want to check here is called failover clustering. If you check it here, it will add these features that we need. And go, OK. You can read it here, the description. Failover clustering allows multiple servers to work together to provide HA solutions of server roles. Failover clustering is often used for file services, virtual machines, database applications, and mail applications when you want redundancies. So this is the first step that we need to do in getting HA solution is set up failover clustering, and we've done that. So go next here, and let's go restart if we need it. Go yes, and then install. Now this may take a few minutes, So while this is happening, I'm going to go and do it exact same thing on server 2 and 3, and then I'll pause the video and then we'll come back. So while this is happening, I'm going to go to quickly on 2. We can just do it together here and see how long it takes. Failover clustering, add features, go next, restart, yes, and go install. And then let's do the same thing for 3. Add features, next, and install. So let's just see how long it takes. I mean, I did do it. It didn't take that long, but I don't want to wait that long either, because it will require restarts. So actually what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pause this video, and when this process of installation is over for the failover clustering, then we'll come back. Actually, it succeeded right there. You can see it's locked, so we can close it. And that may restart. Look on 2. So while we're here, we might as well. I don't think it's going to take that long, but we are going to require restarting of this Windows. So we'll see how long that takes. So that's done. And I'll show you in a second whether we can confirm that. Actually, let's go back here and let's go back to add rows. Let's go to 1. And as you can see, it's been installed. So that's great. So we'll just cancel that. Go back to 2. That succeeded also. So that's done. And go back 3. That's almost done. So let's close this also. And this should take a few seconds. And then the next thing we want to do, and that's feature is installed, I believe. Succeeded. So let's just check that also. And we're good. So let's just check on that, make sure it's... Now obviously it may require a reboot, but we can do that later after I've done this. So failover clustering, install. So in all 3 servers, we're good to go. So now what I want you to do here is, if you go to, now we have to enable SQL Server to allow failover clustering and join what's called a cluster. So if you look at this, before we can do that, we'll have to actually create a cluster. So what I want you to do here is go to your server manager here. And this is obviously, you know, the Server Management Studio that we've looked at many times. And all we're doing right now is preparing the prerequisites for database always on availability groups. Right now it's not on, so we can't do it. So we have to set up all these things. And what I want you to do is go to Services and go to the appropriate SQL Server. In our case, right here, since I have 2 of them, right-click the actual server itself, not the agent, but the server. Go to Properties. And here you'll see a tab called Always On HA. Click on that. You'll see that right now it's not enabled. It does not allow you to do it because we don't have what's called a failover cluster. We have not created a cluster. So the first thing we're going to do is enable a cluster. So after we've created a cluster, then we'll have this will be an option to check, and then we'll allow us to enable Always On or HA solutions. So we have to do that. So I want you to point that out. Same thing to do. Let's get ready for 2. And let's get ready for 3. So you know what to do, what we're looking for. We're looking for the properties of SQL Server on each node. Right-click, Properties, go to each node. And we'll click on the HA tab. And right now, because it is not part of a cluster, we have not created a cluster, we cannot check this, but we're just getting prepared. And same thing here for the 3rd one. You want to do the same thing for here. Right click the server, go to Properties, and Always On, and that's fine.